Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Marshall here, and I'm bringing you a ranked 1 versus 1 between CorgiArmy in yellow, and from what I can understand, I believe Red Tsunami is Killerkiwi. This is one of the new ranked maps for this season. This is Undergrowth, famously overgrown with trees. As our players spawn in on the 5 metal poles, which is a little unusual. Most spawns have 4, but as they spawn in on 5, they'll probably be wanting to go for a bot first. As we see here with Corgi, he's going bots into vehicles into more bots. Now the reason for bots is simple. Combat fabricators do the reclaiming of the trees, which provide you a little extra metal income. And as you can look around on Undergrowth, there's not a huge amount of metal sites for the size of the planet. And they're rather spread out, and there's not a lot of geography to play around. So having that early extra boost of your eco, so long as you're spending it, mind, is going to be useful. So here we go. Kiwi, though, changing things up. He's going for a heavy air build instead. Meanwhile, Corgi, as you can see on the south, is only going into the air factory after his 3rd land factory, which is a little bit of a difference here. So CorgiArmy's probably going to be wanting to get a lot of spinners out of this vehicle factory. You can already see one happening. So there's a bit of a dichotomy there. A little bit of scouting coming off from Kiwi here with the Firefly. Sees what's going on, sees a bot and vehicle, sees strikers and combat fabs being produced. He's going to be ready to deal with that as we go up to the north there. Coming out with some Icarus from the factory there. Should be able to deal with the strikers reasonably well enough. Equally going with the bots. Just get a bunch of those. Claim some territory. Maybe go and try and raid some expanding fabricators. Wherever the Faber train goes. But it's going to have a bit of an entourage here. Look at that. Loads of strikers and spark and a spinner for defense. Going straight to the mountainous areas, or the sort of charred areas. Where there's a nice clearing in the trees. Of course, if you try to build where there are trees, you have to reclaim the trees first. So going over here as the first expansion makes the most sense, as you don't have extra unnecessary time spent on clearing trees prior to building. The same happens in any of these clearings, or anywhere, to be honest with you. Kiwi here, though, going for a vehicle proxy with his Faber train, rather than going down into this larger area here. Is electing to go into the trees, possibly for greater earlier raiding defense. Possibly to try and play for the 4. We do have the ghosts there that look like they're queued up for Kiwi, so that's where he's playing. He's playing for the more defended 4 mechs over there. Corgi, though, playing for the Equatorial 3. Have some strikers going around, getting a little bit of vision, seeing where expansions are happening and where they're not. In come the Icarus, though, picking off some of those undefended land units there. Got to get the spinners coming in. Oof. That number of Icarus takes out the spinners really quite nicely. That's probably the first time that I've seen them really bunch up on spinners like that. That just shows you sort of 5-6 Icarus is enough to take out a spinner outright. This striker, though, about to experience a similar sort of thing, trying to take out those fabs, running through the trees and unsuccessfully, but starting a forest fire potentially. That's another tactic on these sorts of tree co-maps, is starting forest fires in your opponent's halves. Because, of course, every tree is that extra little bit of metal I talked about earlier. So every tree that burns down is a bit of metal denied. That is a viable tactic. Running in and starting forest fires. Here we go, though. A couple more spinners in this assault this time, but the turret is up and ready. Gonna need some grenadiers to shoot in at that from over the mountains, I reckon. In come the Icarus again. Spinners doing whatever they can to deal with those. Taking out a lot of the air here, actually. A lot of the air there lost to that spinner. But equally, the Icarus managed to take out that entire advancing army along with the turret here. So that gives Kiwi a nice equatorial position. Corgi, though, needs to work on his other. Is he going to move up to T2 soon? We're sort of getting to the time that T2 tends to happen. Kiwi, though, of course, going for the T2 bots. Sniper bots and slammers are pretty nice. Nice here. Especially against more sort of T1 compositions such as this with Corgi. Still going with lots of air though. Corgi not really contesting the air game there. He only has a few hummingbirds, nowhere near enough to deal with what Kiwi is fielding. A few idle fabs here in an idle factory. God, you look at that forest fire that was started though. Look how far it's spread. Of course, you don't see it when it's in the fog of war, but the moment it comes into vision, you can see it. That's going to be an entire clearing there now. Loads of metal denied. Meanwhile, Corgi is still reclaiming. The best thing about Corgi and Kiwi's reclaim games at the moment is that they're not reclaiming into float. If you're reclaiming into float, you are essentially wasting your trees, and you've got to stop that immediately. Because trees are finite, unlike metal generated from extractors. Grenadiers trying to pop out at Sparks, but Sparks keep getting caught on trees here. Look at this. Finally managed to find a shot through the trunks there. Here we go. Kiwi coming in. Again, lots of issues with trees here. This is why once you get into these clearings, it's a nice defensive location from the outside. So losing that is a pretty major loss there for Corgi. Meanwhile though, Kiwi continuing to stock up on Icarus, and it's paying off for him. Continues to take out spinners, expansions, fabbers, armies. That number of Icarus could probably take out a couple of hummingbirds, even though they've got a hummingbird entourage there, but there's probably enough to deal with it outright. Corgi though also up to T2 bots now as well. Slammer's coming out for him, and Kiwi going for what? Blue Hawks. Aha. Rather than going direct fire through the trees, Blue Hawks of course are the guided missiles that shoot up and over. So who's going to win this next part of the game? We're sort of going into that middle part of the game now, where the armies are growing. Corgi's force out here is looks to be doing a pretty good job at making Kiwi retreat back to his expansions. In fact, he's taken a few of Corgi's expansions on this side of the equator here. Look at this. Bit brazen. Corgi just needs to push in time to get this turret before it goes up. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. There's a couple of air fabs doing it. I think it's going to go up, you know. Oh, so close, so close, so close, and it does! With a split second to spare. It doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but still. I wonder whether it's better to have just abandoned that and formed up the defense on these three here. Certainly the turret probably would have got more value out of it, rather than just a couple of units gone. Of course, turrets have a metal value as well. Coming in here down the middle though, Grenadiers firing from range at the turret there. Doing a lot of damage prior to destroying it. Of course, in the upcoming balance patch, I believe Grenadiers have their vision reduced, so they're going to need some accompaniment in order to use their full range. There you go. Pelter defense from Corgi. If that Pelter can hit that Blue Hawk, oof! That was a win. That was a win and a half. Corgi though, realising finally that his lack of air investment is possibly costing him more than he's happy with in this particular game. Finally investing in loads and loads of air factories. Is it the right time to do that though? He's got a bit of a bot problem on his front lines. He is going for sniper bots, which is going to deal with the Blue Hawks quite nicely. The Blue Hawk missiles can be destroyed by snipers. sterling defense from Corgi. He's doing a little bit of an attack into Kiwi's base here. Not a huge amount of damage. Looks like a standing army was destroyed. Maybe a single P-gen and not a lot else. Possibly overcommitting there into the defender's advantage base. Spinners, though, more than enough to deal with the Icarus. And as they run, they might get a couple more kills on mechs, but they've got to watch out for this Inferno. It's going to try and duck and weave around, taking out the Spinners, take out the Grenadiers. That's a value Inferno right there. Inferno sat in trees. Glorious things. Another attack from Corgi, though. Slightly further east, taking out another triple mech expansion. Keeping Kiwi on the back foot, though Kiwi does have greater metal values than Corgi because of greater expansions. Having been said, both players now struggling for metal as the trees burn. Kiwi needs to muster a defense here. He hasn't got too many units in his base, but they are T2 and they are snipers, so should be able to keep the enemy forces at bay if he keeps his snipers back rather than on the front lines there. The Slammer's dealing with them quite nicely. Corgi keeping the pressure on in multiple different places here. Kiwi coming in with his own attack into Corgi's base as well in two different places. Into the expansion and into the base, looking at threatening the power line here as well. That's a big one. Corgi has to defend against this. Losing this power line would be massive. He is floating at the moment on and off, but this Inferno, very, very value here. Just ducking and weaving around those Grenadier shots. And there we go, the defense mounted by Corgi. How's Kiwi doing up on the north, though? Corgi starts to encroach. Thinks a little better of it. Maybe goes back to the expansions first. In the first instance. Corgi, though, also done a good job here around the middle, raiding Kiwi's equatorial expansions there and trying to reset up. Of course, this is what you tend to have in the higher level plays, as a raid happens and then Fabbers go straight out to capitalize on it. Rather than a raid happen and then it's just sort of left. It's like, cool, destroyed that, now let's move on. It's like, cool, destroyed that, take the territory for yourself. What I see a lot of lower tier players doing as well, off the bat, is building way too many Fabbers and completely stalling their economy straight out of the door. You only need about 3 or 4 fabricators. Typically 3, 4 at a push out of your first factory. And from there on, it's about feeling when is the right time, when you've got enough economy to really be able to support more fabricators. And of course, as you lose fabricators, go and replace them. Like right there, Corgi getting a nice snipe on Kiwi's fabs. Probably at some point in the not too distant, we'll see a few more fabs pop out of these. It doesn't take too long to just control-click them into the queue. They get put in the front, they don't repeat if you've got infinite build on. Here we go. Kiwi still hasn't quite got the memo about spinners. Corgi finally coming into air superiority land because of that investment into air factories that he made not so long ago. And really capitalizing on it with loads and loads of bombers. Building a second T2 bot factory here as well. He needs more units, apparently. And Kiwi just seems to be striking at the right place at the right time here. He's finally starting to get some spinners. That will ward off the bumblebees. And in come the slammers and the snipers. Be enough to take out all of these factories if he committed to it. Looks like he might be controlling something else around now. Going into T2 vehicles as well. That's an interesting move. Possibly for levelers and shellers there. Maybe even vanguards for their radar stealth, of course. Can be used to great effect. That radar stealth. with the vanguards. Yeah, look at this. Kiwi here. Is he going to commit to the vehicles, or is he going to swing down into the air? Doesn't want to commit too close to that. Got a couple of pelters there. Looks like we'll just about kill off that air factory, and that's that. Corgi though, got another couple of raiding forces coming in. Doesn't have anything to see these mines though, he just happened to shoot them with collateral. Will he lose any units to them? I don't think so. Looks like he's just going to skirt straight on by, fortunately for him. But here we go though. Another small attacking force. Kiwi without many units on the defending home front here. He's got some coming back, but he's going to lose a couple of factories, maybe a few P-gens for his mistake of having the army out of position there. It looks like that army might have been going to defend or possibly raid some of the three mechs. As a result though, Kiwi losing his original metal sites here, needs to rebuild those. His commander's on the wrong side of his base, although, well, to rebuild them. Of course, you don't necessarily want the commander facing directly into this sort of an army here. Icarus coming in to defend as well. All fronts, all modes of warfare there. But Kiwi, his base looking a little bit flimsy there. Look at the metal counts now, down to 78. Need to get those 3 mechs back up there for the 21. Of course, each metal extractor gives you 7 metal, so losing 3 mechs is 21. That's quite substantial. Fabbers here, this train of 5 fabricators, not deciding to build a factory in this region, possibly just going to try their luck, go for this triple mechs here. I mean, if they can make it work. Can Corgi see it? Does Corgi have radar? He doesn't. Corgi doesn't have radar. Look at this. His radar's on the other side of the planet. Naughty, naughty Corgi. Well, he doesn't have power for his radar either. That'll be why he's not seeing it. Doesn't have power. Here we go, look at this. Up comes a Galata, that'll deal nicely. Comes a turret. Shadows and Levelers coming out for Kiwi to defend the base. Kiwi possibly wants to be more defensive for the time being. Doesn't want anything to slip through the cracks, so to speak. Though at the same time, he doesn't want to give Corgi free reign over the map, and that's what he risks doing at the moment. He does have, yeah, well, I was going to say similar metal counts, but they're both flittering all over the place because of the reclaiming that they're doing. So it's kind of hard to judge. Looks like well, Corgi's sitting around 140. 119 maybe? Or did that go down to 96? Here we go. Icarus obliterated. Not the best unit to deal with vehicles, with their slightly heavier armour. The number of Icarus that you need to kill them off is much, much larger. Much better going for bumblebees there for the damage. Be careful. Looks like a bit of a Cold War situation right now, a little bit of a standoff as both teams sort out their armies. Lots of army count there for Corgi, though it should be noted that most of that is in the air there. Interceptor count is 32. If you take out the interceptors there, the armies are pretty comparable. Kiwi completely lost the air game here. Is he really continuing to contest it? I'm not sure he is. He hasn't rebuilt the air factories that he's lost. instead transitioning hard into T2 vehicles. Is that going to win him this game? Possibly. Going hard into T2 vehicles will allow him to deal with the air from just spinners and storms if necessary, and it's going to prompt a response from Corgi to go into Blue Hawks and snipers, I reckon. Blue Hawks being good against T2 vehicles. But certainly Corgi is building way too many interceptors for what he needs. He's got up to T2 air though, which is good to see, but I don't know. He needs a way of dealing with this assault force here. And right now he's only got defending sniper bots and a few tank fodder. Grenadiers here can use this mountain really, really effectively. Will they have range of that? Ooh, it'll be close. Don't think they will quite have range to fire over the top of that mountain there, unfortunately. Though here, though, risk circling round into mines. They don't have any detection in this force. Although the collateral just killed them all, so it's not too much of a worry. Has to get in the response there. You can see in picture that Corgi is doing a little bit of raiding around Kiwi's periphery there. We're about to see if sniper bot hit by mines? Not quite. Never mind. Ignore that. Boop. Defending force from Corgi there. Streamlining between those vehicles just about manages to deal with that. Power line for Corgi though. Gone from this side, replaced on the other, right out in the open though, so that's a bit of a risk. 2 air factories gone now for Corgi, so he won't have as much air control, however he does have the T2 air, which steps him up a bit. 1 or 2 storms should deal with that. Question is, will he start transitioning it into worms and angels? Of course, the potent combination of worms and angels is a good commander sniping tactic. With the air, scouts around the fringe, does a bit of raiding there. The T2 air is a force multiplier in this particular instance because it's just Kiwi is not contesting the air at this point. He's sort of been knocked out of it progressively over the course of this game. Gunships there just acting with impunity. The commander having to walk over to deal with this. Look at that. The commander is forced to trudge all the way over to that side of the base. All the spinners are forced to come back just to deal with the gunships. Kiwi here, definitely on the back foot. Needs loads of Galata. He's starting to get loads up on his expansions. There you go, that's why you need loads of the Galata. Oh, fly over that Galata, yes. Do it. Or rather don't, because he's lost all of his gunships doing so. Look at that. Absolutely nuts. About 6 gunships to begin with there. Lost all of them for no gain whatsoever. Bit of a throwaway there from Corgi rather. Although look at this. Combat fabs from Corgi set on a global reclaim are just popping in and reclaiming this stuff from the other side. Look at this. Galata going down. Will they get close enough to the turret to be able to reclaim it? I don't think they will. Ooh, never mind. Lost to Boombot. Doesn't matter. Notice how there's not very many trees left on this map. And where there are some, there's a little bit of a sparking ember down there. So now it's all sort of transitioning rather from tree-maintained larger armies into, okay, you've got to lock down your expansions now. It's a different phase. You can't rely on extra economy income. You've got to lock down your expansions and defend them. which means playing for the heavier value expansions like the 3s and the 4s, or just going for a win. Looks like Kiwi might be not too far away from doing so, getting a teleporter up here to reduce the travel time for his vehicles. Corgi insisting that air is the right way to go, though. Look at this, there's a teleporter in the base there. Going to get the commander out and maybe this force back in the moment he realises that Corgi's got an attacking force here. Or is he just going to go all in? He's going to go all in. This is Kiwi's all in. It's going to be close. Corgi here with the boom bots. All he needs to do is spy that commander, and Kiwi has not set any defences near that comm. He's saved a few fabbers though, which should just about be able to get up a turret by him. But this is the base going here in that top picture-in-picture. Let's keep a track of that commander in the lower one. Here we go with this force here. This is the all or nothing here from Kiwi. What do we got in terms of the defense? Oh, the boom bots went on the attack, so they won't be there to snipe the comm. Look at that, all the boom bots are going in on the attack. And now Kiwi reveals his army on the front lines here. How many boom bots have we got to defend? They're scurrying around like nobody's business in the base here. The air comes back, trying to defend, flies over all the spinners, realises, oh, maybe we can't do this. The commander's there as well to defend this force. Fabricators popping up, building metal extractors inside Corgi's base here. Where's Corgi's commander? Kiwi's base is gone. Let's keep an eye on Corgi's commander. It's running off in the other direction there. Does Kiwi have enough here? It's gonna be close. He's got to get the favourable trades here. The Grenadiers might just be able to sway this. As long as he doesn't overcommit. This power line here is fostering Corgi's army, keeping it alive. The T2 air factory will go down here. Kiwi's commander separated from his army a little bit. Doesn't want to have that happen. There's a few boom bots floating around. You can see there in the picture-in-picture. There's a lot of boom bots here on the back. Corgi's just going to look for a weakness in Kiwi's commander defense here. It's all about these boom bots. Can Corgi get the snipe on the commander here? Kiwi knows what's up. He is aware. Probably wants to be building some docks out of this rather than... This is... What happened to... What? What happened to all those boom bots? But here, look at this. Kiwi's just completely totaled Corgi's base. We've done a full-on base trade. A full-on base trade. And Kiwi still has the majority of his army. T2 vehicles as well, and T2 bots. Corgi's army, let's just go out of dynamic camera here and tally up the armies here. Corgi, with very few T2 units and not very many gunships. It's all about these booms. Can he make these booms do their job? Here we go. So Corgi's going to move his army in here, try and weaken this force down significantly enough. You've got to take out these slammers here. Those are the anti-booms. The slammers, though, unfortunately on the front lines, from our all-seeing perspective, he doesn't want them there. But I don't think Kiwi knows about the boombot threat. He surely must know that the threat exists. He doesn't just know the magnitude of it, however. Boombots, though, will come in and wreck these Grenadiers. There's nothing Grenadiers can do about these boombots. Here we go, look at this. Getting a little bit of vision. Sees the army composition, keeps tabs on it. Corgi continuing to run, buying him time, waiting for Kiwi to make a mistake. Boombots coming in now, though. Commander separated at the back. Slammers there to defend the commander at the back as well. Kiwi here will not be goaded into an unfavourable trade here, but everything from Corgi is building booms. The only thing keeping Corgi alive right now is the threat of booms and this standing army that's just holding Kiwi at bay. The booms could also act as great cannon fodder and distraction here, but the commander here, separated at the back. Where are all the slammers? The slammers are fighting on the front lines here. In come a few. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Boombots coming in, boombots coming in. Slammers coming to the back here, trying to defend the commander from the booms. They're getting a little too close there, and the booms are destroyed. And there's Corgis all in, gone. And that was that. What a finish. What a finish. The slammers in the right position at the right time. If the slammers were further out front, that would have been very, very different. Look at this. The standing force at the front lines here, pushed in possibly a little too soon. Slightly mistimed there. Oh, that was maybe 2 seconds too soon, pushing in that front force. If it was any later, look, if we go back, any later, the units would have stayed alive as the booms closed the gap. And because they would have stayed alive, look where the slammers are focusing. The slammers are focusing out front. Slammers are firing out front. Oh, imagine if those gunships focused down the slammers. Because the only reason those booms didn't get there, if we have one last look at these slammers. Look what's actually shooting at these booms. The commander and the slammers. Look, pop, 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 pop. It's the slammers that did it. The slammers that did it. Oh, thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope you did enjoy this video. I've been Marshall. And do have a look at some of my other content that should be on screen about now. I've seen that I've got a number of new subscribers recently as of some of the recent sales, so welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for supporting me. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch as well. Sometimes I stream over there. And more PO on the way very soon indeed. Until next time though, folks, I've been Marshall, and have a good one.